Hi everyone, welcome to Unit 7. My name is Salah Abed. I'm going to show you how to do order of operations. So the main thing you have to remember about order of operations is that there are really four basic steps. Your first step is to look for things that are grouped together, to look for any kind of grouping symbols. These can take the form, they often take the form of parentheses or brackets or curly braces. In general, we call them parentheses as sort of a catch-all word. Anyway, so you want to take care of your parentheses first because they tell you how things are grouped together. The next step you want to do is exponents. Exponents are the next thing you do after parentheses, and so look for any kind of superscript, anything like that. Then next, you probably are familiar with the acronym PEMDAS, parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction. And that's true to a degree, but we consider multiplication and division to be on the same tier, as it were. So multiplication and division we really consider to do either one depending on which one appears first as we go from left to right. The same thing happens with addition and subtraction. So with addition and subtraction, you just do whichever you see first as you go from left to right, a plus symbol or a minus symbol or whatever. The main thing to remember, as I was saying before, is that whenever you do order of operations, you're always going to go from left to right, just like if you were reading something in English, of course. So those are our four steps. The first is parentheses, then exponents, then multiplication and division, and then addition and subtraction. And remember, whenever you're in doubt, in the event of a tie as it were, you're always going to move from left to right. So just remember that, left to right, just like if you're reading. All right, so for our first example here, we have 5 minus 3 times 2 plus 4 squared. So what you always want to do is look for the very first thing. There's an old saying, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step, and order of operations problems are like that too. They often look circuitous, but it almost always turns out, well in fact it always turns out, that there is always a first step. So your first goal is to find that first step. Here, the first thing we look at is that we have a parenthetical here, and that means we're going to work inside that parenthetical first. Within that parenthetical, we have addition and we have an exponent. Well, according to our order of operations here, exponents come before addition, so that tells us what to do. So we're going to start with that exponent. And so I'm just going to write everything else down, put a little equal sign here. 5 minus 3 times 2 plus and 4 squared is 16. You'll notice I write the entire problem as I do this. A lot of people will try to condense this or try to do little bits of it and try to tie it back in, but you'll find it's very, very easy to get lost that way. It's actually a lot easier just to work it out as you go and to write everything down so that you have a paper trail. You kind of want to leave yourself a trail of breadcrumbs in case you get lost, as it were. So anyway, that takes care of that. And then this has a next step as well. If you notice, we still have the parentheses here. So we're going to add 2 plus 16, which is obviously 18. So this is going to equal, again, I'm writing the whole thing down as I go. You don't want to skip too many steps with this stuff because a lot can go wrong. So anyway, 5 minus 3 times 18. And now we still have a parenthetical here. We still have 18 in parentheses, but you can't do anything with that. You can't make 18 any simpler. 18 is 18 and will be 18 until the end of time. Can't really do anything with that. So instead, we look at what's going on next. Well, if you notice here, we have subtraction, and this 3 touching this parenthesis implies multiplication. Well, according to our order of operations here, multiplication or division is the next step. So that means we do the multiplication next. So we're going to do 3 times 18, which is 54. And so this is going to equal 5 minus 54. And then there's only one step left. We just do the subtraction. Now you may wish to do a little more practice with addition or subtraction of positive or negative numbers because it's usually at this point that a lot of people have a little bit of trouble remembering how to do that. But if you do it correctly, you should get negative 49. And that wraps it up. Negative 49 is our answer. So all right, so onward to example 2. So for example 2, now example 2 is a little tricky. This problem does something kind of mean. If you notice, at the same step, we have division and we have multiplication here. And this problem leads to a lot of very common mistakes. But if you notice here, multiplication and division, again, are on the same tier. That means you do whichever one appears first as you read from left to right. Well, as we read from left to right, we see here that the division is going to happen before the multiplication. So this will actually happen before that does. But we'll cross that bridge when we come to it, because if you notice, the very first step is parentheses. And in parentheses, we have a subtraction operation. We have 4 minus 7 squared. So we're going to do that first. Again, you'll notice that I write the entire problem down with each step. I know it seems tedious, I know it seems like a lot of extra work, but it will really make the difference between whether you get these problems right or not. 4 minus 7 is negative 3, so that takes care of that. Once again, we have two parentheticals, but if you notice, inside those parentheticals, everything is already as simple as it gets. And so that means that our next step is to move on to exponents. Well, here we have a negative 3 squared. Now, it can be a little tricky to do exponents when you have something in parentheses. Just remember that what this does is it gives you negative 3 times negative 3. The 2 up there duplicates the entire parenthetical. So in this case, we have negative 3 times negative 3, which is 9, positive 9. So we'll write this whole thing down again. 30 divided by 5 times negative 2 plus 9. Okay, and yet again, now we're done with exponents, so we come back to that multiplication-division quandary. Well, if you notice, we have division here, we have multiplication here. As I said before, we're going to do the division first. That's very, very important. So we're going to divide 30 by 5, then take care of everything else. Well, 30 divided by 5 is obviously 6, and we should be putting equal signs here as well, so I'll do that right now. So we have 6 times negative 2 plus 9. And then it becomes a little clearer what to do here. Again, we have multiplication and we have addition. The multiplication obviously comes first. You should know that by now. So we'll have negative 12 plus 9, and negative 12 plus 9 is negative 3. So these are just two examples of order of operations. But try to remember that the point is that while these problems look overwhelming when you first see them, they often boil down to something very, very simple if you actually just dive in and try them out. Just remember that no matter how ugly or unwieldy these problems look, you're always going to have exactly one step at a time. Give it a shot, and good luck.